Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So the purple wig is on, so you know we're doing something fun today. And of course it just so happens to be another My Little Pony video. You know, I did the Pure Cosmetics My Little Pony collection, so ColourPop just released their own My Little Pony collection, and of course I had to grab a bunch of it. So I got the eyeshadow palette, highlighter, one of the pressed highlighters, 3 of the Super Shock shadows, which I believe were all they had in the collection, and I got 2 of the lip products. I did one of the matte and one of the glosses. They had 3 of each style. So I basically just picked out the colors that I could see myself wearing again, and that's what I chose to buy. So here's the first look that I created, and I do have a second look that I went ahead and filmed just because I feel like there's a lot of really good directions you can go in with this palette. So you'll see the second look with the other lip pairing at the end of the video. So if you want to see how I got both looks, then just keep watching. Alright, so first up I'm taking a fluffy brush and going into the shade Flutterby, and I'm just using this all throughout my crease and also a little bit up onto the brow bone. This color kind of needs to be built up a little bit. It comes off a little light at first, but when you build it up, it is a gorgeous transition shade. Next up I'm taking a more tapered blending brush and going into the shade Applejack, and I'm using this more directly in the crease just to kind of darken things up a little bit. Now I'm taking a flat brush and going into the shade Princess Sparkle, and I'm just placing that on the outer portion of my eye. And I started out by using a dry brush on this so you can see how beautiful the color is dry, just to kind of lay down the color, and I'm giving it a little bit of that V shape on the outer edge. Now I'm taking a blending brush and going back into Princess Sparkle and just using it to kind of flare out that outer V a bit better. And then whatever product's left over, I'm dragging that into the crease. Now I'm taking a small flat brush and using some setting spray to wet it, and I'm going into the shade Firefly and placing this more on the center of the lid, leaving the very inner corner blank. And with that same still wet brush, I'm now going into the shade Snuzzle, and I'm using this on the inner portion of the eye. And as I'm sure you can see, and this is what I kind of noticed as well, when you wet these two colors and you put them side by side, they kind of almost look identical. So I was a little disappointed by that. Now I'm taking a small flat brush that I've actually wet with some setting spray and going back into that Princess Sparkle color just to really amp up that kind of sparkly teal shade. And just to blend everything out, I'm taking my fluffy brush and going back into Flutterby just to make sure that the transition crease area looks nicely blended. And I just felt like the outer edge needed a little bit of help, so I'm going in with a fluffy brush into Princess Sparkle just to kind of help that outer V area. And then back into blend. Now I'm taking a pencil brush into this kind of purpley pink shade, which for some reason is named Minty, and I'm just using this to line the entire lower lash line. I'm assuming that the Minty pony is a purpley pink pony in the show. Now to add a little definition to the lower lash line, I'm taking a flat dry brush and going into the shade Twilight, and I'm trying to keep this as close to the actual lash line as possible, and I'm just lining the entire lower lash line. Now to add a little bit of sparkle, I mostly felt I needed this because those 2 shimmery light shades were so close together. I'm using the Super Shock shadow in the shade Posy, and I'm just placing this right on top of that shadow that's on the inner corner just to add a little bit more sparkle and brightness, and I'm also using this as an inner corner highlight. Then for a subtle brow bone highlight, I'm using the shade Butterscotch on a fluffy brush, just very lightly because I don't want anything too bright white on my brow bone. Now for liner, I'm going in with my Tarte Tarteist double-ended liner to just do a nice black wing. Then of course my favorite mascara, which is the Tarte Gifted Mascara. I absolutely love this when doing lashes just because I feel like it doesn't get too clumpy. So I'm just doing a coat of mascara on the top and bottom lashes. And now I'm just adding a pair of fake lashes just to really complete the look. I really like a bold lash, or at least some really dark lashes with a shimmery eye like this. All right guys, so that's the eyes done. I wanted to go ahead and put on the highlighter and one of the lipsticks. So this is the highlighter in, I don't know. Doesn't say. Maybe the box says. I hate that they don't put the names on the back of these. My Little Pony pressed powder highlighter. I guess that's it. Oh, Starflower. This is the color Starflower. So it looks like a really pretty kind of peachy, pinky, golden shift kind of color. So if I can find my brush, that's here somewhere. I need to clean. All right, so let's test this out. So swirl a little, get some on the brush. Okay, so I actually really like that. I like that it's pretty, it's shimmery, but it's subtle. I've only purchased one other powder highlighter from ColourPop, and I really didn't like it because it was just a super chunky glitter type of highlighter, and I just don't like that. If it's chunky, I feel like it just sits really awkwardly on the skin. So this is a really pretty, and it's still a nice, pretty unique color. At least it's, this type of shift isn't something I currently have in my collection, so that's nice. Seems like the undercolor stands out a bit more on my nose. Like it's almost giving my nose kind of like a peachy pinky tint. All right, so I like the highlighter. And I mean, seriously, how adorable is that packaging? That is the cutest thing. All right, so for lips, I got two of the lips. I'm going to use the Crazy Bright one, I think, for this. So this is an ultra matte lip in the shade Pinwheel. Super bright. This is an incredibly fun color. Okay, so this is the finished first look with the ColourPop My Little Pony collection. I love it. I really think it's a lot of fun. I do think these colors are a lot more wearable than the colors in the Pure Cosmetics My Little Pony palette. You know, you can do a bit more of a neutral look with it. Of course, I went with the crazy lip, but I mean, why not? So yeah, let's see what we can do with the next look. Round two. So I'm starting out pretty much the same again. I'm going into that Flutterby shade with my fluffy brush, and I'm just using this as a transition shade. I'm really making sure I build up the color this time though and bringing it higher on my brow bone. And just like the first look, I'm taking my tapered blending brush and going into the shade Applejack, and I'm going to start by depositing this directly into the crease, but this time I'm actually going to work it higher up on the crease, and this actually is going to end up being one of the stars of the show, so you're going to actually see a lot more of this color. I'm basically going to be doing kind of a double halo eye, I guess, here. So I'm starting by placing this Applejack color on the inner and outer corners of my eye. This would be a lot easier done if you used either a flat brush or a smaller blending brush. So as you can tell, I'm having to kind of place it very carefully so that I don't get it all over my eye. But we're basically just doing a halo eye here. Now I'm wetting a flat brush with some setting spray, and the first color I'm going to go into is Blossom. So the reason I said that this is going to be kind of a double halo eye is because I'm going to have basically two center colors. So I'm basically just making somewhat of a box here. I'm placing the color in a box shape, still leaving a little bit of blank space at the very, very center of my eye. And now for the other color, I'm using the shade Starshine, which has to be my favorite color in this entire palette.
So I started by just placing it right in the very center, but it's such a beautiful color, I really wanted to stand out. So I'm blending it out just a little bit more. So you kind of just go back and forth between the two colors, making sure you have a nice blend on those center colors, and they actually go really nicely together. And then I'm just going back into the Applejack shade just to make sure everything is nicely blended together. Now I'm taking a pencil brush and going into the Flutterby shade, and I'm using this to line my entire lower lash line. And then I really just wanted a little bit something more, so I'm taking an angled brush and spraying it and going back into that Starshine shade, and I'm really lining that entire lash line. I'm kind of bringing it down a little bit lower because I really wanted to stand out. I did feel like it needed a little bit of definition, so I'm taking this kind of flat brush that has a slight point to it, and I'm going back into that Applejack shade and just using it right against the lashes. Now here's where I got a little bit disappointed. So this is one of the other Super Shock shadows in Cherry's Jubilee, and as you can see, mine came totally busted. I've had some ColourPop Super Shock shadows come a little bit melted before, but this one, it's almost like it shrunk. A little disappointing, but it still works. It's a beautiful color. This was one of my favorite of the three that they had, so I'm just using this as a fun iridescent inner corner highlight. The next few steps are pretty much the same, so I'm zipping through it. I'm just doing some black liner, mascara on top and bottom, and lashes. Now for this look, I didn't do a winged liner. I just kept kind of a thick, rounded liner, but pretty much all the same steps. Ta-da! And now time for lips.
All right, so that's the eyes done. For this look, I'm going to use the Ultra Glossy lip that I got. This is the shade Ponyland. So this was kind of the sheer purpley iridescent color. So, and I will say beware, because that hot pink color, it stains really bad. So I took it off as best I could and I put some foundation over my lips. So this should be a pretty true to color, look here. We'll see. All right, so that's actually a lot more opaque than I expected it to be, which is nice. It's still a very pretty wearable color. I feel it was one of the fun ones, but still something you could pull off on a day-to-day basis. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video and both of these looks. If you want me to actually swatch all of the eyeshadows, I can do that on my Instagram, so just leave me a comment below. Don't forget to like and subscribe before you go, and thank you for watching. Bye guys.